Why, thank you. Now, did I tell you about this one here? You didn't get to hear it, so I'll tell you a little more about it. Yeah, you're right. It's called a lute-bodied guitar. So it's got, this half is like guitar, and this half is a lute. And this comes from, did I tell you that? Okay, it comes from Germany. That's the only place, well, except for America, the only Germany and America are the only places you will see these probably. And it sounds like this. You gotta listen really carefully. It's a very soft instrument. It's not meant to be played next to truckers here. You ready? The classical guitar, and that's, to this day, this is the same design that's used for concert guitars and for Spanish guitars. Oh, yes, it is a recorder. So close. And it sounds like this. Did you? You ever play that tune? Alright. Now this is also a recorder. This is called a soprano recorder, and this is called a tenor recorder. The tenor recorder is much deeper and much softer. It sounds like this. This is a key, and see there's a hole in here. The same way, this has the same number of holes that this has. But because this is a much shorter instrument, I can reach those holes with my pinky. But with this, see how far apart they are? I can't quite get there. So they've put this key here, which covers up that hole. So you can get all the way down there. And you can barely hear that low note. Oh, no, that's because I'm not playing it right. But anyway. Oh well, life in the big city. I meant to do that. And last but not least, I have here a... So close, but yet so far. This is a fife. It was a good guess. It's a fife. This is a largely a military instrument. And I'll play a little fife music. No.
But that's the part with
You're talking about like the Amish people, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Irvington. I'm a musician. This is what I do for, not this, but I play music for a living. I do everything from teaching to performing. I play at cocktail parties. I do go into schools and talk about music. And I play 18th century music. So I'll go to an event like this, dressed like this, with these instruments, and play and talk about the instruments. But I do not live like this. I've got a microwave and a VCR and the internet, you know. And pretty much everyone else here does too. But this is, for some folks, some people work for the Parks Department, and this is their job. Other people are what are called reenactors. And they live perfectly normal, modern lives, the same thing. They drive cars, you know. But on the weekends, they get together with other people who do this and reenact it. It's a nice way to spend the weekend, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. Okay, thank you.
So long. Thanks for stopping by. Be surprised how often I get that question.
Hit the bone. It splits the bone. So you have like an inch gap. They don't have the technology to reconstruct the bone. So the only thing they can do is cut it off. Cut the arm off. Well, this stuff here, first I would keep your bone. Try to get the drum. And then this one goes forward. This is when it works, right?
I have one of those. I have 4 of these.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. I'd like to know what you're doing here, sir.
I don't really like, first of all, I'm the car. You don't I like them to have around. So you got into a fight last night with a med fan and you got your head banged up. Your brain is all rattled and it's swelling. And I have to cut a hole into it to give your brain a place to swell. It's called trepanning. And I would take a plug that large in your hand. See how it digs in? Out of your skull, so your brain had a place to swell. They still do that today, though they actually use a little saw.
So off the legs?
That's right. First I would cut through all the flesh, right down to the bone. This operation would take less than 2 minutes. I'd have you flat on my table, and when I got to the leg bone, zip, 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 toss it off, and then I would use retractors to pull out the cut blood vessels, and I would tie them off so you didn't bleed to death. And I could then sew up a flap of skin over your stump to make it look nicer.
How many people survived?
I can't tell you. A lot didn't, and a lot did.
Back then there was a lot because, I mean, the kind of muskets and all really did a lot of shattering, right? So there was really no way.
That's what, if you had the bone was broken, it shattered the bone, and they could not reconstruct it. And that's why they had to amputate so frequently. Well, you see, you had bad luck. See this bullet? You just got it in the belly. Come here. And I have to find that bullet, and I've used my fingers to probe. And fortunately for you, I don't know anything about bacteria and germs. And I haven't even washed my hands. In fact, I just fed an apple to the apple. What was flying through the air?
Yeah. And they're never all the same.
No wonder they shatter your bone.
Yes, it's almost an ounce of solid lead. And of course, when it hits,
It'll leave a mark.
yeah, it leaves a mark. And it spreads out, flattens, and shatters bone, splinters the bone when it hits. They give you a problem to get you drunk. They did have some opiates, but if I was taking your arm off, I'd use a smaller blade. Cut right down. When I got to the bone, there, see, your arm's gone. Toss it on the pile of arms and legs of your unfortunate companions. Right on top of
Quite a while. I started out with a sheet, but I ended up with...
They didn't even wash it. They didn't know anything about
Well,
it.
what do you do with it? Okay, so I washed it, and I have to go to spin. Then you have to find darn, what do you do with that? I don't crochet. So I had to... So it's
Well,
one
yeah,
process.
what can you-
It works.
That's right. And then what, you did tactical bombing on the advance? what villages?
Colonel, we'll have to get that militia drilling again. Negotiations obviously were not as good as we'd hoped for the British.
As we expected.
However, if we give the French Martinique, right, if we get Manhattan,
Right. So the way you describe it, you're eliminating the support behind the fighter
rehearsal. I speak from the heart.
All this is storing it so I can continue it. That's stored wool. That's all it is.
Is that natural color wool?
Yes, it is. Hoopsworth. It's easy to spare because it's been well prepared. Like if you're cooking, you start out with good ingredients. Usually end up with good food. Good day.
Where did you learn to do this?
Hancock Shaker Village. Many years ago. I still go up periodically and demonstrate. That's where it all started.
Now, my brother and I have been having a discussion. He calls this a walking wheel, and I call it a wool wheel.
Also the great wheel. All three names are correct.
Oh, they are, and the great
You
wheel.
only spin wool on here, so it's a wool wheel.
Yeah.
The other fibers are better with the Saxony wool. So, both are correct.
He has a big wheel like this.
They're operating.
With the head. I have the wheel, but not the head.
Well, you can always get one.
You can.
Antiques, new ones.
Well, not
This
right here.
particular head that I'm using is called a miner's head. That's the man's name that designed it. And it's very efficient. The other one is called a bat's head because of the shape of the bat. And it all ended up in one idea, something to weave.
I can make two.
Now, what would this go for? What's no hump stuff? We'll see that.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 3 o'clock, so that's in about 15 minutes from now, we'll be recruiting for another unit of the militia needed to fight the British and help win our independence. That'll be on the green down on the left side. They'll be recruiting and inducting into the militia, handing out the toy muskets, drilling, and and then marching out to the firing range for a musket demonstration. So that's at 3 o'clock in about 15 minutes down on the left side of the village green.
Identify the tombstone.
You made all of those
Specific stone within the little plot. As your grandfather and mother. So right at the dirt level, we're marking and pull it away and tuck down a little bit.
See? My great-grandfather. A guy did it.
Mine!
Firing demonstration, and then at 3:30 on the stage behind the church once more, and for the last time this afternoon, we'll have our African American play. So at 3 o'clock it's militia recruitment and drill, and then at 3:30 it's the African American play on the stage behind the church. See you there at both events.
Hello, you back again? Yeah. You did it by yourself, right? Okay. Good girl. Keep up straight. Body straight.
Like to try a militia drill. Come over here and get yourself a weapon and light. Soldiers over here for a militia drill. End up firing up muskets. Whoa! We need another soldier. That's you. You're in. You're enlisted.
We took pictures of him. He's got video.
Do we have any more volunteers to enlist in the militia?
Right foot down, shoulder to shoulder, so move down. We don't want anybody to get ready to break the front.
You can always change your mind. Yeah, you can get in and change your mind, okay?
More vertically ahead.
Whoa.
Never point that thing.
For me, anyway. I can't take it.
The other way.
All right, this is your sergeant there. He's going to talk to you.
When they shoot somebody, you gotta use it right in.
All right, first of all, this is the militia. And militia, sometimes we fall together very quickly and we didn't have a chance to train you in great detail. But you are now in the military. And you have two options. One, obey orders and do what you're told when you're told to do it with everybody else and you may survive. Two, end up dead. You might be killed by the enemy, or if you run away, killed by the provost guards in the back, or perhaps by one of your sergeants. We will not have any cowards in this unit. You'll be in the unit or you'll be dead, so there won't be any cowards. Next, this is your weapon. Now the weapons you have right now are the type our militia would have drilled with in the beginning. Light wood muskets. Feel the weight of this, and you'll see it weighs a little bit more than the one you're holding. Okay? Oh, I'm sure you could. It just gets heavier kind of fast. Okay, so we drill with the wood ones, and as you get good at that, then you'll graduate on to the real thing. The position you're at now is order arms. Your heels are together, a little bit of a V in your feet, muskets next to your right foot, and you're shoulder to shoulder. Get close.
Everybody touch shoulders.
Touch shoulders. Move down more towards the middle. That's good. All righty.
Now we have a good solid unit here. It's quality, not quantity. Listen carefully now. I'm going to show you how to use these weapons, how to march a drill. We'll take you out and then we will actually fire our weapons. You'll get to fire with us in the second rank. And we'll have special fires ended up for the celebration today. Drill instructor, Mr. Evans.
I'm your drill instructor. He's a nice sergeant. I'm not. Have you ever heard of corporal punishment? I'm the corporal. This is the punishment. All right? So, since nobody wants that, let's figure out why we're here first and then how we're going to drill. The reason why is very simple. General George Washington has been fighting the Battle of Long Island, then the Battle of Brooklyn, Battle of Washington Heights. He's been retreating the whole time. He's now retreating from the Battle of Washington Heights. There's a problem. He wants to get up to White Plains. He's going to entrench up there. He's going to fight another battle with the British. But the British have 3,000 to 4,000 troops coming in ships. They're right off the bay. They're right out there at Pell's Point. They're going to be landing. They're going to march in a couple of miles to here. And they're going to try to capture George Washington and the Continental Army. If they do, this revolution is over, and you're going to be singing to the king, not to your own country. Now, we don't want that to happen, so what we have to do is we have to figure out how can we help Colonel Glover and his 200 Marbleheaders who are right over there in a wonderful football field named Glover's Field. All right? Or will be named after him many years, a couple hundred years in the future. All right? Now, what's happening is he's going to run a special battle. No way can a couple hundred troops hold off 4,000 troops, but they can slow them down. They can give General George Washington the time that's necessary to get up to White Plains. And I know if he gets up to White Plains, he'll do his best to fight the British up there. But in order to save him and the rest of the Continental Army, we're going to have to help Colonel Glover. Now, what he's going to have us do is, we're not going to stand out in front and say, oh yeah, take us on. No, there's some nice rock walls there. We're going to get down behind the rock walls. We're going to pop up, we're going to fire on them, and now we're not going to retreat and run like anything. We're going to withdraw, pull back in order, form again, reload again, get on up, fire again. Do the same thing. Then we're going to do it time after time after time after time. And if we do that well, we're going to hold up the British, we're going to hold up the Hessians. Over 200 years, 224 years ago, it happened right through here. This building right here, over 200 Hessian soldiers were brought here, wounded. Many of them died. Many of them are in the cemetery right here. Earlier today, around 12 noon, we went to the graves of the American soldiers, and then we went to the German soldiers. We had American soldiers here, U.S. Army, all right? We had German Army soldiers here, too, helping to commemorate what happened. The bravery of the different soldiers. 224 years have passed. The things that divided us are now gone. We were honoring the soldiers. All right? So it actually didn't happen. And what I want to do is I want to take you back in time and let you feel a little bit about what it was like during that time. So the first thing I've got to get you to do is to march. You can't stand there all day, you lazy soldiers. I need you marching. Watch what I'm going to do with my sergeant. Stand fast. Sergeant, shoulder, fire lock. Now you see what he did? I said shoulder fire lock. He took his weapon, brought it out in front, snapped it around, and came on his left-hand side. So he has his left hand like this, his right hand is free. Soldiers, shoulder your fire lock. Nice. Turn the trigger guard on the inside. Turn the trigger guard on the inside. That's the round thing goes in, into your body. This is called your lock. Now, parents will understand a little bit better when I say, when you want to buy something, you want to buy it lock, stock, and barrel. Well, this is the lock, this is the stock, this is the barrel. You want to buy the entire musket. And that's where that term comes from. Well, if this lock is turned into your body, you may knock your prison member. If you do, now you drop your charge from here, and you can fire your weapon when you use it. So you need to have your weapon hooked like this so you can see that it's closed and set at all times. So you're now ready to march. Now, could you all slide your left foot forward, please? Up. Now, if he had made a mistake, he didn't, but if he had, Sergeant, what would we do to let him know his left and his right? This is your left foot.
Whoa! You drive the heel in. From that point, he doesn't say left, right. He says out, right. And trust me, he will know forever the difference between left and right. All right, now, again, we talked about corporal and corporal punishment. Corporal punishment was allowed at that time. You could actually be whipped for not following instructions. So therefore, make sure you do. Bring your feet back. Troops. In a moment, I'm going to tell you the forward march. When I do that, I'll say forward. No, I won't. I will say to the front march. I was in the wrong manual. The sergeant and I are also members of the present 88th Brigade New York Guard. All right, we're part of the ceremonial platoon. We're doing historical living history this weekend. So you see it. And it was all the different manuals we know, from Revolutionary War, from Civil War, to the modern. Sometimes flip-flop on which term to use for which one. We're going to beat to the front march. I'll say to the front march, and then you'll think, I'll go left, right, left. Notice how slow I walk? They weren't in a very big rush, to be honest. They were not in a big rush. There was no TV program, there was no radio, there was no record player, no tape recorder, no CD. All right, so they were not in as big a rush as we are. So we're going to take this slow. Troops, to the front, march, left, left. Okay, we'll go back. I already jumped on it. Okay, troops, forward, march, left, right, left, right, left, right, halt. Okay, come on up, buddy. Come on. Nice. Okay, now we got a problem. You're over here. I need you back there. To do that, we got to do it right about face. Watch what I'm going to do. When I say right about face, you're going to smack your cartridge box, right foot goes back, bring your left foot up. Now you're going to smack your cartridge box so it doesn't fly around. If I turn fast, that thing's going to fly. I got another problem. If my musket's not straight up and down, and I tilt it like this, when I turn, smack, smack, smack. There's going to be about 3 or 4 people that are going to be looking for me when I go to sleep. All right? That's a guarantee. So therefore, you make sure your weapon's pulled into your hip. You don't have hips yet, just pull it in anyway. All right? And we're going to right about face. Pull it in tight. Company! To the right about face. Turn. Pivot. Whoa! Do that. Okay.
Straighten your line now. Dress your line, that's called. Straighten your line.
Troops, forward, march. Left, right, left, right, left, right, halt. Well, you should be right up against the curve. If you're up against the curve, you're good. Troops, very carefully, right about face. Right. Back your cartridge box and turn. Watch it as a wacky with that.
Still facing the other way.
Hi, darling, we're over here. That's it. Yes, he did. Where's the mama? Where's the mama? Where's the There you go. Look, mom's going to join in too. All right. Okay, troops. She needs help. You help her out. Okay. Now, troop, what we're going to do is we're going to march into the cemetery. We have a firing station in the cemetery, and in there, we're going to show you how to actually do the firing. We're going to teach you about the bayonets and the bayonet drill. Right? So to get you there, we're going to march you in. Troops, right face. This right. Okay. We've marched with some troops that have done some very interesting right faces. Forward.
They're going to go a long way.
Left, right, 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 left, right. Don't swing your arms. You're in the Revolutionary Army. We do not swing our arms.
We'll try to come back alive, but don't count on it.
Good luck, Good luck.
Oh my goodness. Come on, till you touch it. Come up till you touch it. Come up till you basically touch it. That's right. Right on up. Right on up. Right on up. Right on up. Okay. Now that you're right on up, company, left face. Okay, now that you're marched here, I know those 9.5-pound weapons you have are starting to make your arms get a little bit longer. So the first thing we do is we order arms. Bring it right on down to your side. That's what we usually do. First thing I want to do is a safety demonstration. Sergeant, shoulder, fire lock. Secure, fire lock. Open pan. What he is checked for right now is to make sure there is no loose powder in the pan, in the barrel, and that the pan is totally empty. Shoulder, fire lock. Cast about. Withdraw rammer. Notice how he just holds it. He goes in halfway and holds it. Search piece. You hear that ping sound? That means that it's empty. If you heard a dull thud sound, you know that it was loaded. It either hit a lead ball or it hit powder. With return rammer, shoulder, fire lock. Poise, fire lock. At this point, what I'm checking for is to make sure that his flint is in nice and solid, that he's at half cock, and that it won't go off, because you don't want to go off half cock. All right? That's where the turn comes from, just like lock, stock, and barrel. He looks in good shape. Shoulder, fire lock. There are many more steps that we have in our full safety drill, but right now that's all we need for this part of it. What I'm going to have him do now is demonstrate how he loads and how he fires. Sergeant, would you turn left face? Would you reach? Okay, prime and load. Okay, just hold that position for a moment. Notice the first thing he did is he brought it down and he reached back with his right hand for the cartridge box. Withdraw cartridge. He takes the cartridge and he holds it up under his chin. That's to let the officer know he has a cartridge and he's ready to prime. When the officer tells him to prime, he's going to take the only 2 teeth that he has in his entire head and he's going to rip that paper because that's all you're required to have. All those other teeth are just not necessary. Okay, we just get rid of them. All right? Prime. Notice how he rips that paper, tosses that part away, opens the pan, pours some powder into the pan. Not too much, just enough to get some powder into the pan. Where he's pouring that powder right now is in this section right in here. You'll notice there's a little hole in there. What's going to happen is, when it's time, this flint is going to strike the steel, casting it forward, and there's going to be a shower of sparks to come down in here. Those shower of sparks will set off the powder in the pan, it'll go through the touch hole, and it'll set off the big charge that's inside. That's how it works. All right, Sergeant, so that we're not going to slow down. Right there you go. Cast about. He's pouring the powder down the barrel now. If we were firing a real round ball out of there right now, which is about the size of your thumb, 75 caliber, 69 for his, 75 for mine. All right? He would take out his ramrod. He doesn't have to do it right now because I don't want it to mess up the whole thing. He would start pushing it down. He'd push the whole thing down all the way. He's got to get it down because otherwise, if he fires it and it's stuck up here, it's going to create a clog and it's going to burst the barrel and there goes his face. That's a bad thing. Well, for some time, we'll get into that, but we can improve certain dispositions. Okay, shoulder, fire lock. What he has just done is all the steps necessary for one shot. If I can train him to be the best soldier around, he'll do 3 shots in a minute. That means he will prime, he will load, he will come up to the shoulder, his officer will tell him, make ready, he'll make ready, he'll present, and then he'll fire, and he'll do it again. He can do it 3 times in a minute. And after he's done 6 shots like that, this barrel is so hot, he might even cook off a charge. That's what really happens when you're doing it that fast. All right, now, it's full work the whole time. I want to now have him actually fire off. Sergeant, left face. Okay. I'm going to have to turn a little bit more. Give me a quarter turn, thank you. Make ready! It's going to boom. Present. Fire. Whoa, did you know smoke came from both places? Yeah. Smoke came from the pan, smoke came from the barrel. All right? First he had to set off the charge. Some of you may have heard the first click, boom. But it went real fast. There's not much of a hang fire, but it does have to fire here, go inside the touch hole, and then set off the rest of the charge. All right, now, troops, we're gonna fire along with you. You'll have to do the same steps for loading. Troops, shoulder, fire lock. Prime and load. Bring it down to your side. Smack that cartridge box. Grab a cartridge. Pull it out. Put it under your chin. Go right down to the bottom of the cartridge. Rip it off. All right? Get a mouthful of that powder. It's okay, guys. It has saltpeter in it. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Now, we put just enough powder in the pan to do the job. We don't mount it because we'll knock it all over the place. Shut the pan. Pass the bell. Sergeant and I need to go straight up and down with that. All right? Pour the powder down the barrel. Okay. There you go. We're charging with the cartridge. Withdraw your ramrod. Ram it down. Come on, get it down there. Okay, return the ramrod. Come to this position. Shoulder your fire lock. That's all for one shot. Okay, now, do you remember the 3 commands? Make ready, and make ready, you're gonna put it up by your face like this. You want the enemy to know that you've got it and you're ready to fire. Our idea is to intimidate the enemy. Let them know we're gonna fire them because they're over there still trying to load. All right? They're standing there. They're only so many yards away, and they know they're about to be shot on. My idea is to make them get nervous and make them want to back away. If I can do that, I can win the field, I'll win the day, and I'll come out alive. Okay, troops. Okay, troops, make ready! Present! Fire!
Hang fire.
Not only hang fire, so busy talking. The second time I did take off my flashcard. I'll wait for the sergeant. We're going to, besides, I didn't hear much of a bang from you guys either. You didn't.
Oh, we have the bang.
Everybody, make ready! Present! Fire!
You did better on that.
He did better, I did not. I'm going to try it again. Now it just fired, so we know that it's empty, but I want you to see the smoke coming out of the touch hole too.
On a rainy day,
all right?
That wouldn't have happened. See the smoke still coming out.
All right, so we still have the smoke coming on out of that touch hole there.
You got a bang out of yours. That is 75 caliber. There's a lot better bang.
He does. That's why I bought it. That's why he's a sergeant. Okay, now.
I think they're still coming, sir.
I think they're still coming. There's only one problem. How do we know how far away they are? Well, when I put my hand out like this, and I look at the top of my thumbnail to the bottom of my thumbnail, they're about 75 yards away. When I look at the top of my thumb, and I look at this first knuckle right here, and they fit from head to toe in there, they're about 50 yards away. When I look at them top here down to this knuckle, they're about 25 yards away. 25 yards away, I can see the whites of their eyes. All right, 25 yards away, I can hear what they're saying about my family's heritage, which I don't quite care for. It's not a very polite statement that they're making at this time. And of course, I'm making the exact same statement back to them. All right, I'm not as polite as I could be. Now, what I've got to do is I don't have time to reload. What am I going to do? Well, I back away, or there's something else. That pointy thing, the bayonet.
Go to the
Troops. Shoulder, fire lock. Now, fix, bayonets, reach up, pull it down, reach across your body, grab that bayonet out, place that bayonet on there, lock it in position. You now have 18 inches of triangular steel. This is the most fearsome weapon in the entire Revolutionary Army. All right, the cannon would scare me to death. All right, cannon with round ball is bad enough. The cannon with grape shot is terrifying. All right, the muskets are terrifying. This did over 80% of all wounds in the American Revolution. It's a frightening weapon, all right? It's triangular. Wounds don't want to heal, all right? So you're really running into major problems. There's a story about 2 American soldiers. They were fighting in the battle. During the battle, one of the soldiers was bayoneted right through his arm. Now, the Brit who had just bayoneted him was taken out by his buddy, all right? But he couldn't take the the bayonet out of his arm, he'd bleed to death. So he dislodged it from the Brits' weapon, took it, and they ran off together. When they got to a safe place, they built a fire. His buddy took the bayonet, heated it till it was as hot as he could get it. Went over to his friend, withdraw that one, and put this one right in to cauterize the wound. That's called quick searing of meat. All right, that's what was done. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? It's only part of some of the terrible things that your forefathers or our forefathers, because I like to say whether my family was here or not during the American Revolution, we're part of it. I bought into it. I believe into it. This is my country, and it's part of my history now. And that's the way I feel on this. All right, shoulder, arms. Whoa, I didn't say shoulder firelock, did I? I said shoulder arms. Once you put the bayonet on, it's no longer a firelock. It's now an arm. Now, we need to see how this works. Sergeant, you face to the left. We're far enough away so that I won't pin prick him in the back. Sergeant, charge, bayonet. Huzzah! Watch what happens. We've been doing this for a while. Look at those weapons. They're almost identical in height. We know exactly where to go, where as tight as can be. The tighter we get to each other, no empty spaces there, the tighter you get to each other, the better chances that nobody can get in and block you. Because if he and I were to do a battle, and I were to block into this way, all right, the next person comes in and gets me. If you stay tight. If you go out by yourself, all right, oh, I'm brave, I'm going to lead the whole troop. No, you're foolhardy. And you are just that, you're the fool. You ran out forward, you got bayoneted. All right, and now you left a hole in the rank, so you may create a problem for us. If you're brave, you're staying there with the rest of your comrades, the rest of your troops. It is very, very hard to think of standing in line, not hiding behind bushes, not hiding behind a rock, not hiding behind a tree, standing in line and facing the enemy. Can you imagine being only this far apart? Goodness. What a horrible thing. Okay, now, you know how to charge bayonets. Shoulder, arms. Order, arms. You know how, whoopsie, there we go. Put it on the outside. You know how to do all that. What we, unfixed bayonets. Okay.
How many charges did they actually have?
24 in a case.
That was it. After that, you put the sticker on it.
Well, usually you only fired about 3.
Really?
Yeah, 3, and then you'd basically run because, as I was saying, you know, if they're coming that fast, unless they decide to stand and battle it out for a while, which they sometimes did. There was the Battle of Brandywine is one of those very situations where the Americans were actually winning the battle. They were knocking back the British, knocking back the British, knocking back the British, and they ran out of cartridges. So some well-meaning but very thoughtless soldiers said, "Get us some more ammunition, we're out of ammunition." The British hear this, and instead of retreating, they go, "Oh?" All right, and so they return. Now all of a sudden, we're being routed because only half the men can fire because they only half of them have any shots left. So we were routed, and our troops had to, they lost that battle and had to go across the river Brandywine again. It was a horrible scene. Okay. Shoulder, on. Okay. We're going to do what's called a feu de joie. It's called a fire of joy. We got that from the French. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our final fire for the day.
If we had 100 men, what we would do is have what's called a running fire. The person on one end of the line would start it, and you'd go from the left to the right, one after another, and then reload immediately. Then you'd go from the right to the left, and then everybody would reload and fire a final volley. Well, since we're about 98 men short, we'll go right to the final volley.
Prime and load!
Need ammunition now!
General Washington, sir.
How many able-bodied men have you got?
About a dozen.
About a dozen, sir.
Guys have come to get their friends and relatives. We got 3,000 British offshore.
Very good, sir. This will be done.
Let me see what you've got so far.
We were just about to do a firing. All right, troops, we will hold on our fire. We will stand to the side. We need to show what a bayonet drill is like. Shoulder, firelocks.
That's it.
Fix, bayonets. Quick, put those bayonets on there. Okay, shoulder, arms. All right, ready? Charge, bayonets.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Let's hear it. Huzzah! Huzzah! That's it. Shoulder, arms.
Very well done.
General, before you leave, we are going to give one formal firing for the end of the day, sir.
Here?
Right here, right now, sir.
Very good.
Okay. George. Make ready. Freeze it. Fire. Shoulder. Right about. Face. What you just heard, saw full firing, all right? You can imagine what it would be like to have hundreds and hundreds of troops, thousands of troops during certain battles out on the field. It was a tremendous sight to see. We're going to march you back to camp. We're going to get you all paid. You're all good soldiers. You know what to do. The General Washington came here to see what you were up to, and could you help out in this?
Don't lose any teeth. You need to bite those cartridges.
Yes, so you have to brush your teeth if Mom says so. If Dad says you can skip one like this, you know, but if Mom says so, you do it. Okay. Soldiers, right face, forward, march. Sergeant, lead them in.
All right, well, you can come a little closer if you like, or you can hear me fine. Yes? All right. My name is Libby. I call myself Free Libby. And when these folks get over here, I'll tell you a little bit more about this war that maybe you hadn't learned before, hadn't heard about before. Now, before the war, of course, things were very peaceful around here. Most people were happy. Of course, the rich people were enjoying their land, their big farms, and their comfortable houses. The small shopkeepers were doing good business. Everything was going along so. But then they began to talk about freedom and liberty. Big, important-looking men with fancy clothes and fancy words came around making speeches talking about they did not want to be slaves to that King George. Down with King George. And, of course, nobody was talking about keeping me and those like me slaves, but they were going around doing all this talking about freedom and liberty. I didn't quite understand all that. There was another group that thought the king was just fine. They were going around making speeches just as loud and just as fancy, talking about they were proud to be loyal subjects of the king. The king had been very good to all of them, they said. And of course you had the group that didn't want any part of it, did not want to be bothered, just wanted to go along with their lives just the way they were. Well, the arguments and the speeches turned ugly, and they turned into fights. And soon there was so much trouble. There were armies gathered together. And there were these little armies, they called themselves patriots and militias. They didn't look too good to me. Their uniforms didn't match sometimes, but they looked quite smart as they marched along during all their drilling. Things went along, and soon neighbor turned against neighbor, though. People who didn't like each other in the first place began to see a chance where they could get even. And they began to take each other's things. And of course, all those patriots and some people that didn't look like they belonged to any kind of army were coming around, ripping up fields, stealing animals, breaking into people's homes, taking what they wanted for the cause, they said. And then the other side, those who wanted to stay with the British were doing the same thing. They would break in and put the people out of their homes. People got real ugly with each other. Not only did they take each other's things, they began to even poison wells and such. Well, everybody got real afeared and heard soon that there were going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those Britishers coming, and they were going to do a battle right here. Well, that was it. Most of the people around packed up their things and began to leave. Did you see something? You might as well come out. I see you. Make haste. Come from behind there. Well, who might you be looking for? Who are you?
My name is Titus. I have to be on the lookout for patrols.
Well, there are plenty of those around here.
I haven't seen any yet. I've been very fortunate. I ran away from my owner in New Jersey.
Of all the troubles we're having around here,
you're in no danger. Who might you be? Your name?
My name is Libby.
Libby. I am
free,
Titus. May we speak? I came from the state of New Jersey, and I've been traveling for some time with a few other people.
Others? Where are others?
They are well hidden.
Well,
you're in no danger. You're in no danger.
This is no time for strangers.
I know.
I hope you don't think you can stay here.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. I need food, a place to rest, so that I may be on my way in no more than a fortnight, or if you can afford that long.
No, you can't stay here a fortnight. Maybe you haven't heard. There are hundreds and hundreds of Britishers coming here, and they're going to do battle right here, and it's going to be really not a place for strangers or somebody who doesn't know their way around here. No, you can't stay here for a fortnight.
But from what I
maybe
understand,
I can help you.
Would you be willing then to perhaps find a few provisions for this sack and some water? Because in my travels I found most of the wells poisoned.
Oh yes, be careful where you drink. It's true. People got so ugly around here, they were doing all kinds of things to each other, and poisoning the wells is one of them. But where do you think you...
Let me catch my breath. I'm on the way to Richmond, Virginia.
Where?
Richmond, Virginia. That's, I imagine, of almost 1,000 miles from here. I've arranged transportation. It is south. South of here. It is south.
Don't you know everybody else is going north and west of here?
That's everybody else. I can't go north. I have to go south.
The British hold everything down there. I was told that they have all the lands, plenty of soldiers, and they're on their way up here. Now you want to go that way.
I am glad the British are there, and I'm glad they have plenty of soldiers. That is why I have to go down to Richmond, Virginia. Let me explain myself. There is a man there from England. He's a Colonel Dunsmore. And I have information that he is forming an all-black Ethiopian regiment to fight against the Americans in this war.
Wait, he is doing what?
Forming an all-black regiment, what he called the Ethiopian regiment. I believe it is the 9th regiment. I believe that is correct.
You are talking about black fighting men?
Indeed, I am talking about black fighting men. The reason I am doing this is because Colonel Dunsmore has promised that any black person who fights on the side of the British against the Americans will be set free at the end of the conflict. And the way I see it, Since the Americans haven't promised us anything as far
That's for sure.
then why not side with the British and not be so concerned about who wins the war at this point in time?
Oh.
Right now, it's all about the freedom of those who are enslaved. Therefore, I have to go south to sign up with Colonel Dugmore, who's made the promise. And I have to believe it. From what I hear, it's quite true. Then I will be set free.
That's a good story.
It is not just a story. It is not just a rumor. It is true.
I wish I could do that. I would like to get a musket and a sword and go fighting for my own freedom. Oh, that
Well, I'll
sounds
tell
like
you,
a proud thing to
if
do.
I don't get some food, I won't even be able to lift a musket nor a sword.
I tell you, Titus, I'd be proud to help you. I tell you, I can maybe keep you here 2 nights and 2 days. That's all. And
Well, 2 nights, 2 days, that would be better than nothing because I just about run out of disguises. And what you see on my back right now, I have on only because it seemed like some gentleman had passed out on the road and I thought that he had no further need of wearing it. So I just took it and put it on myself.
I understand. Well, you don't have to worry about me. I can make it safe for you for 2 days and 2 nights because I know all around here, you know, and I freed myself.
Wait a minute. You freed yourself?
Yes.
How did you manage to free yourself?
I tell you, I had heard all these speeches about freedom and liberty, and I had been working, of course, all my life for Mr. and Mrs. Livingston since I was a wee one, like this little wee one here just about. And then all this trouble came, the war came, and people began to do mean things to each other, and then all the soldiers and the cowboys and the this and the that came through, and now they say all these Britishers are coming through here to do battle here, so everyone just about packed up and left. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Livingston and the family packed all their things and all the carts and the wagons, and we had just gone a little bit away when I got to thinking about freedom and liberty and all the talk about it.
Well, they talk about freedom and liberty for themselves usually.
Well, I started thinking about it for myself. So we were on our way a little piece, and I thought, and I ran to Mrs. Livingston and I said, Mrs. Livingston, oh, I left the cook pot. I know they're not packed here, and you know we can't find or buy anything these days. You know that. I should go back and get them, yes? Well, she looked at me. Oh, she turned like a lobster. And she said, Livy, what am I going to do with you? You get back there. Yes, you get back there and get my cook pot and make haste. We are not going to wait for you very long. You make haste and you catch up with us and get my things and bring them to me. Of course, I made haste and I came back here. But I didn't make haste to catch up with them. And I have been free living from that day.
That is truly wonderful.
Oh, yes, and I am going to stay that way. I don't care which side wins. I'm going to stay free, stay out of everyone's way, and stay safe until this war is over.
Well, back to that subject again about provisions, some victuals and some water.
This is what I can do for you, Titus. I'd be mighty proud to help a man who's going to fight for himself and set others free. Down that slope, you can't see it. Yeah, maybe a little bit. There's a stone fence about that high.
Yes.
You can get over it, I know, very easily. Now I want you to go around the house. The house sits back. That's the Livingston's house.
Do the Livingstons have a root cellar?
Yes, they do.
And a clean well?
The well is covered, so it's safe.
God.
I know that. That's where I have been. I have been able to keep myself hidden most of the time. And I know it's dry and it's warm there at night. And I have been able to gather in some of the dried root vegetables and some herbs, and I even have some clean flour and meal that I can make some hardtack since we have clean water. There's a goodly amount of salt too. I can make hardtack. You can take that with you. That'll last you a few days. Now, I was the cook over at Crawford's for a long time before this trouble started. And I know where there are salted and smoked meat because some of it I hid it myself before all the trouble started.
Now
so,
I'm getting hungry as you talk about the food.
Oh, patience. Now when it's safe for me to move about here, I'm going to go over there into their cellar. There's this meats there and some other victuals that I can get. I'll get all I can carry, and I'll meet you at the Livingston's place just before the sun is gone.
Just before sundown?
Yes, just before the sun is gone.
Do you need anything to cook with, like
I
firewood or
need
something?
Some dry wood. It's been very hard. We've had rains, so I haven't been able to move about and get enough cut. I do have some there. But on your way, if you can get as much as you can carry in your wallet there to start a fire when I get there. Don't you start a fire.
I will not start a fire. I think we are safe. I hear some...
You never know who is about. But I want you to go and walk smartly and keep a sharp eye. You can pick up the wood as you go if you get a chance to. If you see someone, try to move the other way. You don't want to talk to anybody.
I know.
Yes.
I will not talk to anyone. And even if I have to talk with someone, I will just sort of mumble something and be on my way.
Keep moving like you're on your a special business or something. Don't answer anyone that makes sense.
I will.
I will. All right. And I will be able to get there just before the sun is gone. I'd be mighty proud to help you, Titus.
Now, you seem like a person that I can trust, but I want to tell you one thing, and I'm going to leave this with you. One of the reasons that I'm also going to sign up with Colonel Dunmore is that if I survive this conflict, I'm going to come back through the state of New Jersey.
You're coming back?
I'm coming back through the state of New Jersey. What I have in mind is to perhaps form a small army of my own and like a guerrilla action, a guerrilla type affair, and to set free those who are still enslaved in New Jersey, as many as I can set free. You will hear, you're going to hear about me, I guarantee it.
I like your spirit. What a brave soul you are. Oh, and I hope you make it. I really hope you make it.
I certainly hope to, but
I don't want you to get caught here, though. So walk right smartly, keep a sharp eye. Upward if you can. If you can't, we'll just make do. Yes, but move quickly now,
thank you,
and I'll
Libby.
see you before
thank
the
you,
sun
Libby.
is gone.
I will be very careful. God bless you, and thank you. I'll be on my way.
Oh, I hope he makes it. I really hope he makes it. To be able to fight for yourself. An army of black fighting men. Oh, what a thing, what a thing. But as for me, I will be able to stay here just as I have. And I'm going to stay alive. I don't care which side wins. And after all of this is over, I think I'll be able to get myself a small piece of land. Maybe not here, it depends upon who wins this war, but somewhere. A small piece of land and maybe a small house. I don't care how poor it was, it would be mine. And I'd be able to live as free Libby for the rest of my days. Free Libby. And you know, when you begin to learn more about this war, and you hear more stories about this war, you might hear of Titus. I think he might be able to get down there to see that colonel. I really want to hear more about that while I'm cooking. I hope he tells me more stories about that colonel and the black fighting men. But you might hear about me too. Free Libby, a woman who freed herself and stayed free through all this war. I thank you for listening. Good, I'm glad you asked about Titus. We know about Titus because he really was a man who existed and was a slave in New Jersey, in Monmouth County. There's a book of advertisements, broadsides about escaped slaves at that time from New Jersey and New York. And Titus is listed. He did work his way down to Virginia, where he did meet up with Lord Dunmore. He was the British governor of Virginia at that time. And of course, he was smart enough to know that he had a good source of men through freedmen and slaves, anybody who would fight against the rebels at that time. Titus did join up with Colonel Dunmore, and the black regiment, the Ethiops as they were called, did engage the colonials or the rebels or the Americans. They fought on several fronts. Titus did gain rank, and he made his way back to New Jersey and did fight the landowners, a kind of a guerrilla warfare against the landowners in New Jersey, and freed several slaves. Now, of course, who won the war, though? Young people? Old people. Who won the war? The colonial, all the Americans, right. So what do you think the British had to do? Yeah, and then what happened? Did they hang around? No, the British had to leave. They had to evacuate. So Colonel Dunmore took the Loyalists, both black and white. These were men, fighting men, and their families. And he first went to Nova Scotia in Canada. And of course, there were many who went with him, and we think that Colonel Titus was among that first group of black loyalists that went with him. Now, of course, in Nova Scotia, they were promised land. Some of them did get land, but it wasn't equitable. And so many of the black loyalists were unhappy there as well. They met a lot of hardships and resistance. So some of them went with Dunmore and some of the other British leaders back to England, particularly London. And then from there, some of them were sent or went to Sierra Leone, where they were so-called settlers, and that was their final home for some. That is, but as far as Titus is concerned, or Colonel Ty, we know that he went first to Nova Scotia with Colonel Dunmore.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.